Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Site Audit session where my name's John Pugh, and I've been doing Drupal a really long time. And these days, my company is thinkdrop.net, do consulting and DevOps, and have a dev shop hosting product and all sorts of things. And right now we're working with Vardot, an agency doing really great stuff. They are a major open source contributor as well to a distribution called Varbase, and we're working together to do some really interesting stuff based on Site Audit module. So, yeah. So the version is 4, and the joke is track your Drupal site into the 4th dimension because that's time. So we're just the Drupal Site Audit module has been around a long time. 10 years coming up in July, and you may have used it. It's actually got a decent amount installed at the moment, but it's also a drush thing. So a lot more people probably use it than this. 10 years it's passed from. It was initially created by Pantheon, and they used to run it across like all their sites at once, I believe, so that they could check like different statuses. And then, yeah, Vardot's the new sponsor. Fort Kitchens was in there for a while, and me and Vardot ThinkDrop. So the first version was old, Drupal 7, drush, and just drush. And it would just print out all this stuff for you. And it was, you could use that and get some information, and it was really helpful. There wasn't anything more than that back then. So you could render it out. I think it probably still had JSON print back then. And there's a set of checks for everything. Well, get into that. So this next version came around, and it was finally on Drupal 8 drush, but also it's still the first round of that version actually still just was drush, didn't have web, but at least it had prettier drush with the tables and the colors and all that. Then the version 3 came out, and we finally had a web interface, and so we had this, and now we had this. So the developers created a nice little bootstrap friendly dashboard here, and it calculates kind of how much of a percentage you're using your best practices. And yeah, there's like 3 levels of flagging that you can code up for, pass, fail, warning. And so 4.x is where we created a new branch based on that for 4. And basically the whole point was, it's funny actually, because this came about from, we wanted to build a dashboard to like track other sites. So Vardot has over 100, I think almost 200 customers or sites, and that's a lot. So we really need to see like a high level view where all the sites are at, whether their caching's enabled, what version of Drupal they're doing. So starting to build a dashboard out of Drupal, right? And so the original task was just to get that information somehow. And of course, there's a million ways to like send info from one website to the next. So I was looking around at stuff, and we already were using Site Audit. Vardot has their own customized Site Audit checks that does it even more checks than are provided already. And so they had been using it a while, and I was looking at it and going, this is really, why don't we just send Site Audit from one site to the other? And so, and also, how do it should be an entity so I can save them. And that was it. I talked to Razem from Vardot, and it was like, sure, let's go for it. And drush made it really, really easy. Drush generate, create entity, create everything. It took like a couple days really just to make a new entity where it's just like a node. You submit a label, the author, and it saves them over time because now they're nodes, right? So your reports can be saved, and they have a little metadata about them, like who created it and when. And it has fields now for site title and site UID. So it'll actually save the actual site title and the site UID in like basically a field on the report. And then now that they're entities, we're like, oh, we can save them regularly. We'll save them every minute, save them every hour, a day. And we wanted to send them, so we made a send queue as well, configure it to send every minute, every day, every hour. Of course, some delete stuff. I think we still need to implement that delete reports older than. So let's make a list of contribution requests that we'll put into the issue queue after this. So yeah, very simple remote settings. So again, making a REST endpoint to receive an entity was like a piece of cake with drush generate REST endpoint. So now that comes built into Site Audit Server when you require that on your Drupal site. And then you just paste in a URL with a little API key, and you can start sending reports from one site to another, or from many sites to one. And so this is what the UI looks like when in the backend. So the traditional site audit module page was right here under report, and it was just static, like it just rendered at the time and printed out stuff. And then so if you wanted to save that, you had to like print it or send it, send a link or something somewhere. But now we can save these reports over time, so you can click and see, was caching enabled here, was the table size, what was the table size there, and now it's all in entities, so we can make views and things and all sorts of fun stuff out of all that information. Yeah, so I'm keeping this show slides to a minimum because it's really easier to see how it works. But let me load up the Drupal.org page, and then we can just kind of open up to questions for a minute, and then I'll jump right into some demos. So yeah, does anybody like have any questions yet? No problems. So the page is drupal.org/project/site_audit. And now I've got a lot to do to like update the project page and everything, but that's hopefully what we're going to kick off in this session, even do a little bit of work. There's another module called Site Audit Server now, which is separate. So we can, that's still in development as well, but this is what you use to receive things. And I just created a Slack chat room for Site Audit as well. Site Audit in Drupal, Site Audit module. So we'll have to put that on the site as well. So yeah, let's jump in and look at some audits. So let's just jump in and look at the cool one first. This is the dashboard where most of this is Drupal content, and it's kind of custom stuff for linking customers and etc. content together. So I'm going to skip through that and go straight to the site audit part. So we now have a list of entities. So all of these come in from different places. They show different URLs. So this is the actual Drupal site title and the URL that it's coming from. So you can see we've got some Acquia sites here, and we've got it coming from our own self-hosted sites and even from Lando. And even then there we have some from Prod. So it's a really neat way to see all the different environments even that are being worked on. And so I can jump into any one of these and kind of see the state of things. So let's open up one of these reports. So a report about the reporting site. So this is the UNHCR site, which is UN things. It's very data heavy. They don't even care about a theme. So it's a good example of how things work. So that is now sending us site audits, and it's so we can see FAST 404 is enabled, folder structures, no multi-sites detected, no some super. The whole code is content, how many fields you have, use that field. So you can see, oh, I got a lot of blocks here. I can have all these feeds, etc. And you can really figure out like what's filling up your site. So lots of fields. Wow. So then, yeah, taxonomies, etc. But then, cool thing, very, very helpful here. Whoa, my size of my database. This one's really big, 3 gigs. Why is it so big? I don't know. So storage engine, they have this is a little heavy duty stuff. There's a lot of info. It's not really designed yet for the most useful info. Like this is just fragmentation ratio. And so, but if you scroll past it, you can get to the good stuff, how big your tables are. So this search index has this has 2 million rows. So we know that, hey, they got a large search index. We don't need it if we're taking dev snapshots. So we now exclude that table and we make sure that those things aren't there. Watchdog was huge, but it looks like they cleared that out. Good. And so what's interesting about this though, is because you can compare the two. So like we two different environments, right? So one of them was the live site, and then one of them we have even a dev site here. So if you look at the dev site, we can come in and look at the database and see, oh wow, much less than 3 gigs, only 500 megs, right? Since now we know it's really helped. We can keep tabs on all this stuff from one place. It's kind of nice instead of clicking between sites. So yeah, there's basically a lot of stuff that you can find out about. This was going to be more about the new features. I think everyone maybe has seen these things before. And I mean, I hope everyone's seen like the regular status report page. Because that's kind of where this grew out of, So so let me just do another quick tour. So when you enable the regular module, you're used to maybe seeing this list of reports. So you can customize the ones you want. But now the new Site Audit Send module has these settings in it as well. So recurring audits, how often you want to send it, and then remote settings. And we're going to walk through actually setting this up anew on a site real quick after I kind of show you this. So that it's really straightforward. And then so you can make a new report and you can send the report. So I can just click send. And so I added this little tab like email, but I just realized like it's an entity. Maybe we just leave that to other modules. We don't really need send an entity. We already have that. So remote server, and then here's the audit report. And then all the fields are already filled out. It's because it's pre-populated from the site itself. And the site URI also pre-populated from the site. And this is actually our own field. So a really cool feature of Site Audit Report being an entity is you can have fields on it. So on either end, your client site or your or your server, you can add as many other fields as you want for notes or referencing other things or users, or even it's enable commenting. Maybe I haven't tried that yet, but the regular entities, content entities. So anything you can do with those, you can do with these site audit reports now. So let's just test out sending one to ourselves. So this site's actually got it is its own server, but that's kind of fun. And when you hit save, it does a test, so we can see that. So we can go to the report, send the report, and then just hit send, and it posts, it receives, and that's it. Yeah. So one of the interesting things we are doing is, because it's an entity, is we added fields, right? So this is a link to a node. This is just a node reference field that links to a site content type, which allows us to list the reports just for that site a little bit. We're working out some things with these, how they associate, like, because this is our own custom code. But basically, since the server module creates entities and has a hook for when it receives it, and the client module has hooks for when it sends it, right? So you can alter the payload from your site to the Site Audit Server very easily with Drupal hooks, and you can react on the server side and the client side when you get that back. So when this site receives an audit, it looks up a site node for that, and it tries to pre-fill the field. And it also actually will create a new site node and link it automatically. I believe it works right now. So you can actually simulate this, because one of the things we can do is alter this. So just like we can, it's not really coming from this site, so we're breaking this kind of audit procedure. So from a development standpoint, I'm thinking about just making these not exist at all for to be editable, because you can really fake an audit if you wanted to. But so I'm working on a new site called Empire Drupal. It's the Empire State Drupal. I'm thinking about making a new community group here in New York to have maybe a statewide little camp. So when I send this to the specialized DSD, our custom module receives it, looks up some stuff, and tries to do something with it. So let's see what happened. There it did. So it created this new node for us and associated it directly. So that's kind of cool. So that way we can just, new sites can come in all the time and we don't have to pre-populate them in our system. So, and yeah. So that's it. The use cases are really big. I think there's all sorts of things we can do with it. What I'd really like to do is bundles, actually. So Site Audit is an entity, but I never made any bundles, and so I think in this would be like an audit type. And so what I'm thinking is Drupal would very easily allow us to have the audit type admin UI where you click add audit type, and then you can select, like, I want this audit to just do the code. And like, then when you go to add a new report, you would choose which type you wanted. So that's probably, I'm going to write up some of these like as kind of feature requests, or because we're now that it's here, we're recruiting more and more of our own developers to do these things. Because the thing is, we have other reports and they take longer, so it takes like a lot of crunch time or processing to figure out like your config status or something. So making it kind of modular would be great. And also, if it's a node, so we could make it look nice, right? We could make we can change the rendering and do theming and stuff like that. So I'm thinking this is really a neat framework for like getting all sorts of info out to people that need it, whether it's content managers or user managers or stuff like that. Yeah, so that's basically the main chunk of the session. It's like I said, it's a really simple module, and but yeah, I just wanted to we could do this easily here because it's in views now. So I just added the fields, and it's interesting because you can see, actually, let me go to a different one. Like you can see the dev test and live all reporting back to the same place. So it is, which one is it? Focus. Oh yeah. And no. Anyway. Yeah. So which one was it? Yeah. I know what happened. It's jumping around. So I'll demo that later. But you can see sites with the same UID that have different URLs, right? So it's nice. Yeah, so I just wanted to do a complete setup now, actually, just kind of so you know how to do this on your own if you want. So I think basically I have a couple sites up and we were going to literally do some git commits and stuff like that. So
John, I'm not sure if this is the right time, but I did have a question about the report itself, and I'm curious to know if this is something could be exportable into a CSV. And
it's already, that's exactly what it is already. It's it's a JSON dump of what the audit report was already doing. Yeah, actually, oh, I should have put Devil. I forgot to put Devil module in there, but
something I love
to
use when I'm creating estimates for
Site Audit.
Yes,
that's great. Yeah, that's a great idea, right? Because you can see how much content, all that stuff. Cool, good idea.
Cynthia, is the floor open for questions? Because my
Please, yeah,
question
please.
is
We're in,
extension of your question.
I want to show what people are interested in seeing. So yeah. So yeah, it's all just basically structurally, it just takes it takes it and just dumps it. So best practices, block, etc. It just, you know, it was already it already had the capability to render this to JSON. All I did was I'm saving it to a field. So and it is, I did make it like a Drupal data field. So whatever the traditional, any of the Drupal data export stuff should work. But this is also, we need a little assistance because it can't, you can't piecemeal it out really. It just takes that and turns it into the table field sets that I did here. But yeah, more is possible. Like I think if we had bundles, we could actually, I was thinking you could do like add fields and then do like if there's a way to do like JSON select of the main field. It's a little complex because like it is just storing it as a whole JSON dump. So sorting by, you know, nodes isn't possible yet, right? But there's all sorts of ways we could do that with different things. Yeah, so let me, any other questions, you can just jump in. But basically, yeah, you compose or require site audit. Make sure you get the latest dev, or I'm actually making releases pretty often, so I think it's fine. And then I'm going to commit that.
I do have a question.
Please.
My question is follow up on Cynthia's question. As a site builder, especially with Drupal 7 end of life announced, one of the things that we do very, 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 very often is like, I need to get off my Drupal 7 site. Give me like not even like dollar estimate, but at least can you give me idea of what I'm looking at? What's the level of work? And right. what I realistically do is I copy and paste all the things from status report, field report, site report, and say, okay, all right, this is the list of things that I'm doing, right? And so for us So Site Audit was developed for Drupal 7, then it was by Pantheon originally. Then it was just to make sure that to display in the Pantheon UI, and then it was released to open source, and then it was ported to 8, and now it's module, and it's great, and it's terrific. And as a part of Drupal 7 soft landing initiative, we would love to port UI back to 7, and we have in the module we have issue opened. I'm trying to figure out what would be the most efficient way to organize sprint or something. I don't remember if issue has been created here, but I know how to do that.
Yeah, I think basically we'll track the effort on the issue, but I don't think it would be a really basic Drupal 7 module. It might be a good kind of task, like task for task for someone to take on, but because it's basically the same, actually, they're classes, and it just renders out and via drush. So if you just wanted to put it in the UI, it would be almost the same as what I did in the 4X version, because it's just rendering it to an entity. So let me see. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, the HTML report is it just goes from the data object to looping through type. Instead of details, it would be field group, you know, and then checks is just a table. So this wouldn't be too hard, I don't think, to convert back to like backport, you know, because yeah.
Well, the session is recorded.
The other thing you might want to think about, though, is well, Yeah. No, I was just sorry. I'm trailing off because if you want to do it before you even have any migration code, right? You want to be able to view that report like similar to this, the way this is working. But I mean,
Yes.
yeah, Drupal 7 has field sets and collapsible field sets. So it would really just be like, one hook menu item, one page, and one and the theme function. And yeah, you could probably steal some of this code to do it as well if you wanted to, because this is probably looks the same. I'd have to check.
Okay, I hope that there are some developers on this call who might be listening and looking. And John, if we decide to organize a sprint at some point, do you plan to be at DrupalCon?
Yeah, I do actually. I do plan to go.
So maybe we can do a BOF or a DrupalCon, or maybe we can do just a working session.
Sure.
Whether for people with people who are actually at DrupalCon or organize something online. Not everyone can travel to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I mean, basically the work's been active. So if you anytime, jump in the issue queues and try it out and submit a bug that you found. We're always there, always welcome. And also, yeah, David, the Slack channel now is up. So if you're not on Drupal Slack, it's a great place to join already, and the channel is Site Audit.
Is it called Site Audit Channel?
I did Site Audit module because I was like, if I call it Site Audit, people might be coming in going,
okay,
what
that
audit?
makes sense.
Very, yeah. Yeah, right here. So, and it's very small so far, but please join. And yeah, it's very popular. You're right. So I think we have a lot of interesting plans. So I think development is going to move pretty well quickly on it, on different things.
Yeah, 10 members, 11 members. Great.
Yeah, great.
Here we go. Let me.
But yeah, I think like if you would look at the drush, this basically you could convert this very easily to theme, right? So drush is doing, I guess it's doing that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we could talk about Drupal 7 all day, but does anybody, yeah, any more questions? Great. Let me just do a quick walkthrough of how I can get this set up. So I started a new site audit cloud. And I have my Empire Drupal here. So let me log in.
John, after you do your demo, Bernardo had a question of what's next for the
jump in at any time. Yeah.
module.
Was there more questions?
Development. Or Bernardo, do you want to chime in?
Sure. I was wondering what you had in mind for the next iteration and maybe for the timeline of this module. Is it feature complete at this point, or is there something else coming up the pipeline?
It does what it's always done, and it works. So it saves the reports, and it feature complete. I think we're going to make new features. So for 4.0 is pretty much feature complete. Once we start adding new things like the bundles and adding report types and things like that, then we'll probably make it 4.1. So yeah, it's ready. It actually has some uses or pretty good usage already on the branch. Let me check the stats. So yeah, I just put out a beta 2. Where do you do that now?
Is there a reason why you don't have a stable release yet?
I just haven't checked the box. I should. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now because it's not a fancy module. I don't think there's any risk. I haven't seen any bugs. So I think that's a good point. Let's go ahead and mark it supported. that's been kind of been nice about it, is it's a very simple module. There's no data stored other than the entities now. So yeah, and it's nice. It's old enough. So let's see. Not green yet. How do we do that? Make sure that's green. Yeah, I'm not sure. Forget how to do this. Anyway, yeah, any additional questions? We'll figure out how that turns green soon.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about var dot has been mentioned here a couple of times, right? Does this agency has interest in helping with Drupal 7 UI version with this particular issue? Because this is like, if we're trying to migrate, like, I don't know if you heard about Drupal 7 planting initiative.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we might be able to do that. Yeah, we still have a few Drupal 7 sites, and we can't audit them. Well, not like this. So maybe I think we would be open to that. Yeah, because if you go to I think it's
right.
They're already, we actually have internally, they have like a spreadsheet where every month they're like, list your contributions. So
right.
Yeah, no, I think we could definitely rally some of us, the team, to do these things.
Because
a lot of projects already.
Yeah, lots of people. Look at this.
We're one of the top. Yeah, we're one of the tops. Yeah. So sure. Yeah. You're right. I don't want to leave our Drupal. I feel bad for our Drupal 7 sites.
Well,
I don't see it being a huge lift at all. The data's there in Drush. It's just a matter of printing it in a theme function instead. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get it done.
Sounds like an afternoon for you. So are there anyone that I need to reach out at Vardot by any reason?
Some of them were in the Slack room already, actually. So Rajab, the one I added there, is from Varbase.
Okay.
Yeah. Do a little.
Yes.
Where's the team here? There we are. Rajab is here. He's in there. He's the Varbase maintainer. Mohammed Razem is the CEO. But this is the main open source guy here, because it's maintaining Varbase, which is one of the biggest, I believe, distributions.
Yeah, I think that it might be I believe I talked to Rajab, maybe. I think that from the Drupal community perspective, this whole situation where Drupal 7 sites can't get off because they don't have mechanism to resources. It's not like mechanism. There's not enough resources to allow smaller site owners to begin even consider moving off Drupal 7, because the discovery itself, anyone would, like Cynthia, correct me if I'm wrong, but even just to get discoveries for the site is 20 to 40 hours. Like even just looking at the site, because if you're not looking at the standard, like say Stanford distribution, where we know all in and out, but if you're looking at something else, it's like, I need to understand what are your modules, how much custom stuff, what is the content, what are relationship, and it needs to be translated into plain English from Drupalese, right? And this is what site module is doing so successfully, because this needs to go to site owner, and site owner like, okay, I got it. I can take it to our finance department. And here's a number at the bottom that says, if you have this and that, this is like, bulk quote for what needs to be done. Like if you have all the custom theme, if you have, I don't know, 100 relationships, you need to think about like, what's the amount of work and what type of work goes in, and saving this initial step. Like, okay, now you don't have to climb the stairs. You have an elevator that will take you there. This is the idea of first step of allowing Drupal 7 owners to start moving. Yeah.
And it looks like we got a lot of interest. So I think we can I don't think it would be much work. So I'll post like just a description of how it
Thank
might be
you.
done. Yeah,
Thank
that'd be
you.
good.
That
Yeah,
is-
so just, sorry, any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna just click through. So if once you download the module, Composer Require, you get these 3 out of the box: Site Audit Report Entity, and Site Audit Send. You can just install those 3. Yep, serialization. So it's just Drupal serialization. So if you use any, there's a ton of tools that integrate with that. And then you go to reports. It's under reports, Site Audit. And then this is the traditional standard site audit that you can then print, but now you can just click save and give it a label if you'd like, site title, and hit save. And now there it is. So if we go to go to the site audit saved reports, we've got it right here. So when you want to get into sending, what you want to do is sorry, I'm trying to drag a window here. There's Site Audit Server. So Site Audit Server is the REST endpoint, and that will enable things for you. I think it automatically enables key authentication as well. This is just, it'll actually use any REST. So if you want to get fancy, you can use that. But basically, this is a really simple key authentication thing where you enable the module. You go to any account page, so my account, and then you go to key authentication. And if you don't have one already, you can click generate new key. And then you use that in this URL. So you just copy that, put it there. I just put this is my own site. It doesn't, we're working on there's no UI for the server. So we're making a little help page probably is going to be needed. But basically you do that. And then a remote report, save. And that's right. I didn't get this API URL subdomain yet. So I just have to do that. And there it is. Post was successful, tested. So now when I send from Empire Drupal, and I have reports here, I made a little view, but let's go to the regular one. Save site reports, right? So cron report. So cron's been running, right? So we know that it's saving reports on cron. And now I want to send it from my other sites. So Empire Drupal, send it from here. I hit send. And I have a send and save optionally. And that's it. It says it gives me a link of where it went. So now I should have there from Empire Drupal. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was curious about fields and stuff. I haven't tested this, but the whole all the fields are sent through. So let's make this a little more interesting. We go to structure, site audit report, manage fields, right? And let's just say text, say add a note. And I'm going to do that on this side too, actually, because I want to test if this doesn't work. This is a feature I want to have. Oh, my bad. That's weird. What's going on? This is regular Drupal. What happened? Anyway, okay, it's working now. My thinking is if this does work, it might, because it just takes the data and hits save. But if it doesn't, this is a new feature I want to make sure it gets in there. So if you have the same field on either end, it should save it. So yeah, look at that. That's weird. URI plugin for formatter. maybe, I don't know if that might be the entity, but yeah, it might be my entity. That's a bug I just found. But yeah, okay. So now we have these two things. So now if I'm gonna go make a new report, I can go reports, site audit, save report, and that's like the node create field. So let's note. Something is wrong.
It's a bug.
Fix the bug.
It's a bug. It's a feature. It's gonna go. It's gonna. We love this. We love this live demos for the camp. That gives us a spirit. And our fearless leader, the way our fearless leader John Becar puts it, it's a camp.
Yes. So display. I think it's just hiding our note. Yeah, there we go. So if you take the note, put it up top, hit save, then you can actually see the note that we added. Site audit, saved reports, new report with note, and there's the note. I don't have like a send after the fact feature, so that might be nice. Send, it only sends it when it's saving it. Did you get my note? This is going to be cool. Note. I don't think it's going to work though. That's not how it works. So it posted. Report. Did you get my note? Well, and maybe I didn't set that. It did work. It did work. Look, a note. Okay, so there you go. If you put fields on either end, you get to receive them. Isn't that great? That's Drupal for you. I didn't even do that. Drupal did that. Yeah, pretty sweet stuff. All right. I think that's time. Actually, we've tried to give people some time between sessions. So put my final slide up and say thanks. I don't even have a final slide, so we'll just keep it on Site Audit. Or if you want to go, you can go to siteaudit.cloud right now and click Google sign up. Click the G to sign up with Google. And yeah, I'm going to provide a site that lets you use our site for site audit receiving instead of worrying about maintaining your own server. So yeah, I think that'll be fun.
This is
I could just.
Do you want to add this information to your session? You should be able to edit the session description, and we will be posting recording once it's processed, couple of weeks. I don't know, week 1 to week. But
Great.
this is really exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun talk, and thank all the prior developers over 10 years. They did great. All right. Now we can all just hang out in the hallway, the virtual hallway.
How do you sign up at siteaudit.cloud?
The G here is a Google sign in.
Got it.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything yet, but you can make a key. But maybe I'll test it out and then I'll email you.